Hello and welcome to Conversations. Happy holidays. The kids are home. Lots of people have traveled in. Everyone is in a very happy mood celebrating the end of the year. Well, we have lots of ladies in the house today. I'll leave them to introduce themselves and we'll get to the business of the day.
The name is Devan. Thank you for joining us.
My name is Patience and it's a pleasure joining the conversation.
Edith, and glad to be here. Happy holidays.
Okay, ladies, welcome. We're talking about how to get back to school right after the holidays. You know how the end of the year can be. It can be a bit tasking, financially straining, and then once January comes, the next thing on people's minds is, school fees and, all the other things that January brings. So I don't know, we need to talk about all the tips and give our listeners and our viewers, the kind of ideas that they need to start the new year. Edith, can we start with you?
Oh, well, for me, we start with the basics. For instance, the kids are back. I'm sure there's loads of laundry to do. There's loads of new things to buy. So I think between now and Christmas, do the laundry, sort all of that out, because as the year comes to an end, the pressure builds up. So there's a few days to Christmas and a few days to New Year. You can do the laundry, sort out what needs buying. So while you're doing the Christmas shopping and everything else, you're just keeping an eye on the back to school shopping as well. So you could do that concurrently. So when you want to do it after the holidays, you'll have fewer things to buy. For me, those are the things that usually kind of work. So take care of the laundry, take care of a few of the things the kids are going to need when they're going back to school, and then even after the new year, you would have done most of the work.
Okay, I know Patience has older kids, and I know you have a lot of ideas, and you have twins at home too. So we'll listen to your own ideas when we get back. This is still Conversations here on NTA Network.
That are not married and they're doing this incredible.
Well, there's a mirage of things. So I think first of all, we have to go back to the writer. You are very well known for your teaching skills. Your students speak a whole lot about you. Miss Nigeria competition.
I said, let's pick them up, let's take them back to Nigeria, and let's teach them a different kind of job.
When there's a child out there that's not getting the same that your own child is getting, the difference will tell, and there will come a time in the society where that child is going to take its pound of flesh.
Where you can actually, everything from watching a program with the child, you can start up the conversation from something on the TV and say, oh,
For me, it's like, hurry up with this business. And the other one said, Auntie, it's not about me, it's about the guys. They're not ready to marry.
Yes. If she wants to ask something, no, I know my mother very well. In fact, the most interesting one is when I put up pictures on WhatsApp, Snapchat filters and all that, she will call me, remove that picture. There was a day I got tired of all that and I said,
Getting back to school after the holidays, and Patience is going to give us some ideas on how she manages with 4 children, and twins are among the bunch there, right? Okay, let's hear.
Basically, I'm going to just add what Edie just said. Once you're planning for Christmas and you're shopping, shop along school things. If you go to the children's shop now that they sell after school, nobody is going there. What that means is that demand for school things now is low, and the prices are low.
Oh,
You go there, they will give you attention, the prices are low. I buy my things even before shopping for Christmas. So that way, I am at rest. The moment school starts, I have everything ready. And trust me, the prices are low. So take advantage of this season to buy your school things.
Oh.
Yes, do.
Oh,
Yes.
But first of all, babe, it's great to be on set with you again. That's one thing I want to do, because I mean, for those who already know our history, it will be so weird. Why are they just sitting there acting like they don't know each other? It's great to be on set with you again.
Yes, it is. You know, I'm just feeling like, it's always been there. So, but
I want to acknowledge that. I want to acknowledge that's really good. But then just to come back to what both of you are saying, I guess it depends on the age range of the kids, one, and then the kinds of, if they are boarding students, this might be more appropriate. Then you have day students. In my case, my kids are all day students. But then again, the school handles all of that. It's all inclusive. The school fees takes care of the uniforms, the sandals, the socks, everything.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's everything. I'm not going to name the school.
I know.
I would love to, but not on this forum. Yeah. So you pay the fees and they take care of everything, textbooks, exercise books, everything. It just takes all the stress off you.
Okay.
Wow.
So for us right now, it's not so much about worrying about buying those small things ahead of. It's about just making sure that school fees is there when it's time to be paid, because you know Christmas takes, before the camera started rolling, we were talking about this and I said, Christmas is unkind to Christians. Yeah, because at Christmas time, usually, especially for those of us who live in the cities and you have family back home, usually whatever else you've been doing throughout the year, Christmas is that time you try and make that time to go home, you know, to see people you haven't seen in a while.
Celebrate with them and all. Yeah.
And then you swing your 10 fingers and appear.
Yeah, no, you can't do that.
It doesn't work. It doesn't work.
It's not going to happen. There might be people you haven't seen in 2 years. You know, they might swing by because they heard you're around, or you decide to. You must present maybe that small bottle of wine, maybe a live or dead chicken. You know, it can't be a Christmas card. It can't be a Christmas card. So for depending on how big your extended family is, for some of us, Christmas can come with quite a bit of tension, because you're thinking, okay, it would be nice to do this for this person. Not necessarily because they're demanding it. In some instances, yeah, there are demands, but ordinarily, because of who we are as Africans, as Nigerians, you haven't seen this person in such a long while. You're the person staying in the city. We all hear all these stories about how the streets are paved with gold. You're coming home. We expect you to bring something. So it's more about that, and being able to make sure that you handle all of that, and when January comes around, you still have the school fees to pay as and when due.
So what, do we start saving in October and November before Christmas and the rest of it comes? Because it's a lot. You're talking about...
That would be beautiful.
You're talking about uniforms and socks and provisions and the rest of it, and the school fees and the Christmas expenses you just mentioned.
Yeah, but in my own case, like I said, the school fees encompasses all of that.
Yeah, but for parents that have to still buy those things, that's what I'm saying.
In our own case now, we'd be worried about making sure Christmas goes as it should, and making sure that we still have something reasonable to make sure that all of that is sorted out in January, and we're not taking soap to Gary.
Yeah, well, you know, the pressure builds up. As the year comes to an end, the pressure just builds up. Sometimes, really, you have to step away from the pressure. For me, I keep saying that Christmas can never be perfect, because we as human beings are not perfect. You're not going to have that perfect meal. You're not going to have that perfect get-together. There's going to be one family member that's going to come there with the sole purpose of ruining Christmas. You're not going to have that perfect, I don't know, whatever it is that we always picture. We want perfect at Christmas. it just puts pressure on us, and it never really happens. So just relax, do the things you like, and while you're doing the things you like, think of back to school. So as she said, by October, I think you should have a good chunk of money somewhere that you're not going to touch, because you know children are going back to school. By October, really. I learned that from my mom. She used to do that. By October, she would have school fees for January sorted, because January comes with a lot of pressure. Apart from the pressure you go through at Christmas, you come back to January and everybody is broke. And you're going to wait till the end of January to collect that salary. So you have to keep that in mind. Yeah. So you have to sort yourself out. So like by October, you should know that, you know what, this good chunk of money is for school. And you just make up your mind you're not going to touch it. You keep it somewhere where you can't reach it. Just keep it there. Because in January, no one's going to even look at your face.
Yeah, no, there's
so these are some of the things that you really ought to.
And I think just keeping it real.
Yeah.
Christmas is every year. Take it or leave it. There are things you can achieve this year. Next year, you will not be able to achieve them. So just keep it real and keep things in perspective. January will always come after Christmas, and the demands are there. Keep it real. Take off the pressure. For some of us who have done this Christmas year and year again, we've learned to just keep it real. Yeah. And don't buck under pressure.
How many of us think that January is like the longest
Of course it is the longest.
Everybody.
January never ends.
You know, it's like January 14, 14.5, 14.8. It's so long and you're just like...
ends.
And there's one other thing I've noticed about January. You know, at the end of the year, every woman has someone that... most women anyway, let me not say every, but most women have people who are in to help, right? And of course, when you're taking off for Christmas, they all take off in various directions.
Yes.
And it's also part of the things that affects back to school. That's why I even talked about the laundry. While they're here, before they go away, because they go away and they spend everything, and they spend the whole of January trying to get money to come back to work. And they're not able to. And you also are struggling with bills for January. So you have to put these things in perspective. From experience, I know the people who help you, they go away for Christmas, you wait the whole of January and they are not back. So you should put that too in perspective. In January, you're handling the back to school yourself. If there's bulk shopping to do, then you're on your own. If there's laundry to do, you're on your own. So all of these things add to the stress of January. So you should look ahead. If they're still here before they go for Christmas, give them some parameters. If you do this, then you can go for Christmas and so day and come back. But if they don't come back in January, they would have done all of that work
for
before going.
Yeah, you know, there was something you said about them being flat broke. The lady that takes care of my kids, she's 25. She has 2 kids of her own in the village, so she comes to Abuja to work and everything. But what I've noticed is that when she goes with, you know, all the bonuses and the rest of it, she's flat broke by, I don't know, December 31st. So what I do, I give her transport to go. I don't give her transport to come until she's just about ready. If I give her everything,
she's going to spend it.
She'll spend it. So probably the day or 2 days before she comes back, I'll now send it to her account, and
that's
then
why
she comes
even
back.
lucky and they come back at all.
Because
in many instances, it's like an annual cycle. The person comes in, maybe in the first quarter of the year, works the whole year. That's if no relation dies.
Then for another day.
Because I mean, like 6-7 months in with some grandparents who die and they go and they never come back. But in many instances, by December they go for Christmas, and by January you're hunting for the next person that will help you.
That cycle takes the whole of January, February into March.
So if you're really unlucky,
if you're unlucky, but if you're lucky, the person would come back.
If you're lucky. I have a friend that normally takes her leave in January. For most people, it's kind of strange. You take it around July, June. She takes it in January because she always has that challenge of getting someone new to take care of the children. So the whole of January, she's away from the office.
So it's not like she even has the time to relax. She's taking time off work to work.
Yeah, well, I that's what we just, as she said, we should just keep it real. Father, mother, children, extended family, keep it real. If the pressure builds, just sneak into a room, lie down. If the turkey or the chicken or whatever wants to burn, let it burn. You know what? Sometimes if you just refuse to get up, somebody else will just get up and do it. Don't be superwoman. You're not superwoman. They will come a day, okay, if the chicken is the soul, if you can, let's go find somewhere and buy some chicken. You know what? Because seriously, I'm not doing this today. I need some time out. Or I need to go do my nails. I need to do my hair. I need a massage.
Yeah.
Or I just need to lie down.
Yeah, yeah.
You see how after Christmas people take this leave, they come back to work looking more tired,
Yes.
looking haggard, looking like the way. I'm like, it's supposed to be a holiday.
But anyway, I think with time, we begin to learn with experience that, you know what, as you said, every year it comes up anyway.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I could plan, so I could put in some rest time. When you're planning, put in the rest time, put in the back to school time, put in all of this. But you know what? Ease off on the pressure and the great expectations.
Stephen mentioned extended families. Some of us don't actually leave the city. We stay back for the holiday period. Then we have, you know, junior sisters, cousins coming in to stay. That's another pressure in itself because, you know, they want to go and buy pizza, auntie wants to buy ice cream, we want to go and see Father Christmas. That's another ball game altogether, you know. So you're not buying rice and live chicken to take to the village. And then when they go, you still have to look for money for them to go
back. Transport fare.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying.
And if you don't give, you are not a very cool auntie, you're not a nice
you
auntie.
should keep everything in perspective. Really, for me, I've come to the point where, you know, we worry about what would they see, what would they think. I've stopped worrying like that.
Yeah, really?
I'm going to do my thing according to my strengths, and if I can't do enough this year, maybe next year I'll be able to meet your expectations. But you know what? I got to deal with me first. I got to do me first. You understand what I'm saying? I got to be alive, healthy, kicking, not depressed after Christmas for me to do next year. So really, I've come to a stage where I put things in perspective. Can I do this? Can I not do it? If I can't do it, I'm shelving it. Simple.
Yeah, I think it's a philosophy that would help so many of us.
So many of us.
Because sometimes what galvanizes all this extra spending that now leaves people totally gasping for breath in January is that need to fulfill certain unspoken expectations that you think people have that they might actually not have. You know? And then you're here, you're beating yourself up. Oh, it's been a long time since I did this for aunt so and so. Oh, I haven't done this for this person. I promised to do this for the other person. And and then before you know it, just within this Christmas that you should, of course, you should have started putting something aside by October, but it depends on what has happened in your life, what were your challenges, and so on and so forth. But you do need to keep something aside in December to buffer January. And if you're not careful, before you know it, even the little you're trying to keep aside, you've used it to do this Christmas thing for this person and the other person and the other one and the other one, because you want them to know that you still remember them and all this and all this. And then January comes around and it's like, oh, I actually don't have school fees. You know, it's like everybody knows children are going back to school in January. It should not be, oh, no. You should have it.
You know, there's something. The principal is not.
No, the principal is not interested in it. They don't want to hear the story. They want you to have at least half, if nothing else. Bring something to the table. Don't be like that person whose wife gives birth and then at that moment they're running around trying to get money,
making calls.
Like the pregnancy just happened that year.
Like the pregnancy and birth just happened now.
And all kinds of things. So, and you know what, really, as we grow older, somebody put it in perspective for me and said, you know what, in your early 20s, you're worried about what people are saying. And then you get around 30, 35, and you'd say, you know what, I don't care what they're saying. Then you get to 50, 55, 60, and you realize they were never saying anything.
Oh, that's cool.
Then you realize, actually, nobody was saying anything. Nobody was even looking at you. So you were just living your life with all of these thoughts in your head and pressuring yourself and thinking and thinking and thinking. And then you just realize, just as you weren't really thinking about anybody else, nobody else was thinking about you.
Yeah, you know, and just a slight digression. That's why no matter how weird people get, I'm like, give it a rest. We'll forget it in the next 1 hour.
Exactly.
You're just the flavor of the minute. You're not even the flavor of the month.
It'll pass.
Until the next person does the next more absurd thing.
And then the person
so
is
don't
on.
even bother. You know, there are some people who thrive on shocking people. I'm going to... No. You shocked me for like 30 seconds.
Something is on. I've moved on.
Yeah.
It's true. So, how many of you are advocates of Christmas hair? doing hair for Chris? You are.
Well,
That's another money siphoner right there.
But you know what? Well, right now it doesn't bother me like it used to. But I used to really like, you know what? On point. That hair must be on point. You understand what I'm saying? But these days I'm kind of more relaxed. If by Christmas Day I don't have a really tight new do, what? It doesn't really matter anymore. But I used to be crazy about Christmas do. I used to be, but no more.
What about you, Patience?
I'm like that. I think I've also grown. I've also grown. Because for me, Christmas is, for adults, I think Christmas is the activities that precede Christmas. On that day.
Oh my, it can get so boring.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's what Christmas is, of course. It's the build-up.
It's the build-up, the activities before that day. So on that day, I'm lying in my house and resting.
Yeah, of course. Seriously.
The children just are excited on that day.
Yes.
But adults, almost all of us are bored and waiting for that day to just pass or something. So for me, it's...
Yeah, well, for me, last Christmas was so awful that I'm determined. Yeah, well, everybody traveled and left. That was the Christmas my husband and I decided not to travel. And every other person traveled.
Okay.
Including the kids.
Oh.
And it wasn't nice. It was not nice.
One would have thought that would have been a good opportunity.
And then, a whole bunch of my Christian friends had left Abuja like most do. So on Boxing Day, I called my Muslim friend. I think that's when these things matter. Yeah. I'm like, please tell me you're in Abuja. She said, yeah, I'm at home. And I went and ate rice. Yeah, so it was awful. No, I'm not talking to you, Ramatu. Your rice was beautiful. I loved it. That was the only companionship I had at Christmas. But I'm just saying that, you know, the expectation, the build-up is so high, and then all of a sudden...
that it goes. Yeah. Those dives.
This was not. So this Christmas is going to be different. Okay. But that's not to say that we're going to blow everything. We're definitely we're going to make sure that January happens for sure, like it always does. I'm just saying that with regard to the Christmas hair thing that depletes, no, I use the same salon all the time. They're not going to add extra 500 naira, except I'm giving them a tip for Christmas. No, so you're not doing the Christmas hair thing for me. You're doing my hair like you normally do it. It just happens to be for Christmas. And I'm going to give you a tip if I want. If I don't want, I'll see you next year. Yeah, so I always have my Christmas hair done.
But I think there's a bit of pressure even with the service people, you know, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. So they always expect...
Fuel station attendant, everybody expects.
They're expecting a little extra because they've served you throughout the year anyway. So
yeah, well, you have to try and go out of your way. But if you don't have it, really, for me, it's recession this year.
So are we still using that? The recession line? Are we still?
This year, I mean,
I don't know, but
for me, the recession has hit. It hit me. I don't know if it didn't hit other people, but it hit me. So if I used to tip you 500 and I come to your salon to do my hair and I give you 200, you're going to have to appreciate the 200 because things were not rosy this year for me. You understand? So that's what I keep talking about, the pressure thing. We just have to just ease off on the pressure on ourselves. We do. We really do.
Yeah.
And then apart from that, even the kids, we have to prepare them because that's what this is all about, getting them back to school after the holidays and everything. Some of them come home with assignments that they it's meant to keep them occupied. So you don't let them play away the entire time. At some point, you have to engage them, pull their attention, make sure that make sure these things are properly done. I don't want you doing it the day before you're going back to school and then messing the entire thing up. And then if it's for those who go back into the boarding house, it's always good to find time to give a pep talk about what not to do when you go back, things to avoid, the kinds of friends to not hang around, and so on and so forth, and so on. And of course, if they're older kids, although it's the holidays, it's a festive holiday and things like this, I don't see anything wrong with getting them engaged in chores.
Of course.
By all means. Get engaged in chores. Pick up those skills. You're going to need them one day anyway. And that way, if they're older kids who can handle things like this, you don't put the entire burden. That when the person who helps you around, when they don't show up or when they start playing God, I mean, everybody can just chip in and the house
of course. I know you have older kids. She was talking about pep talk. Do you make them have New Year resolutions or things like
No.
that? You know,
I don't even do New Year resolutions myself,
Yourself,
so I
okay.
don't put them on anybody. But like the pep talk thing for me, it's almost a daily affair in our home, because after morning devotion,
Exactly.
okay, this happened yesterday, I don't know why it happened, it shouldn't happen again, and there's the reason why. So it's almost, it's practically a daily thing.
Yeah.
So it's not going, there won't be a special thing around Christmas per se.
Okay.
But I do know that it's not every home that has that culture. So for homes that don't have that culture, as you're entering a new year, children are
Sit
going
down
back
with
to
your
school.
kids, yeah.
There's no harm having a small family meeting to
Family
see,
meeting.
okay, what can we do better next year as a family? What in your attitudes need to change? What do we as parents need to change to meet your needs more, and so on and so forth?
Are you that kind of parent that says, okay, so how can I be better? Tell me what I did wrong. Because some parents don't want to hear that. I mean, mommy is always right. Mommy is always right. I should always be right.
I'm not like that, but none of my children have taken me up on the challenge. I keep telling them, I've told them over and over and over, I said, even if I do something to you that you don't like, what matters is your approach. Meet me at a time when, you know, everything has settled, tensions are down and everything. Explain yourself. If I need to apologize, I will apologize to you. If I need to explain why I took the action I did, I will.
You probably represent 2% of Nigerian moms worldwide.
Well, but my dad was like that.
Really?
Yeah, my dad was like that. He was always open to hear. And my dad was the kind of person who would be like, okay, there's this thing going on. What do you think? Okay, this is what I want to do. And he'd be like, yeah, well, I think this is why it won't work, and all this and all this. But hey, let's give yours a shot. You could have a superior thinking than I do. And of course, I'd go and do it and goof. Yeah, and he'd be like, and he'd never say, I told you so. He would never say, I told you so.
Have you learned the lesson?
Yeah, he'd be like, so, do you now understand why I, you know, so we always had this kind of, my mother, you couldn't do that with. It's just like, you have to do this and this and this and that. And how was it? You weren't having conversations about it. It wasn't a democracy. You did as you were told, and that was it. So I leave that door open for my child and stepkids, but nobody has taken me up on the offer. And I'm like, you really need to take me up. I want you to challenge me, let me fail. Come up to the door, knock, come in, talk to me, and let's see how that conversation goes. I want somebody to take up that challenge. Nobody has done so.
Okay, and then one other thing I think that happens, especially first term, this is first term when some of the children have just gone to maybe boarding school or secondary school.
It's actually second term now.
Yeah, well,
the one that just went by.
The first term just ended,
yes.
and you're going back to school. And of course, the first term is the longest term in the school calendar, and then they come back with their results. I also want parents to give perspective to this. It's the first term. There's a thing called a learning curve. You're not hard on these children, so you ruin the Christmas because they came home with so-and-so results. I have seen families that before the Christmas, they're discussing results that the children came with, and mommy wants it to go this way and daddy wants it to go, and there's a whole lot of friction. I don't think under any circumstance that a child's result should be reason for friction at any point in time in a family.
Well, again, that depends. This holiday, my children came home with their results. I have a daughter who does exceptionally well.
Okay.
Last time she came, she was the best in math in her school,
Wow.
best in science, and the first overall. This time I noticed she was playing a lot. And I would call her and say, Favor, you're playing too much. He said, Mommy, no, don't worry, I've read, I'm fine. And the elder brother kept saying, Favor, you're not reading. I would talk to her. She was not the Favor I know. She was playing more, watching more TV, even though I have time for watching TV. When she's watching, she watches so hard. She's like, you can't read. How do you watch People used to watch TV. And then the results came in. I was just waiting patiently. I wanted her to learn the hard way.
Okay.
You know, she's so used to, hey, overall first, Favor, Abba, and she walks, and
She got overconfident.
this time she came third, and she couldn't believe it. Third position.
Yeah.
When she came home, Mommy, you don't have to say anything. You were right all along. I'm so sorry. I did this, I did that. Mathematics, she got 85. This is somebody that got 90 something, almost made 100 last term.
Wow.
So she learned. I didn't have to beat the drum, and I didn't have to you know, beat her or talk to her anyhow. She has learned the hard way, and I'm like, Favor, what are we going to do next time? And she itemized what she was going to do, what she would do to get it right, and I'm happy about it.
Yeah, you
so I
see,
tend to just allow them make their mistakes.
Yeah, but what of a situation where maybe they keep coming back with bad grades and there's no improvement?
No, you need to sit up and talk to that child.
And then find out, of course, about learning disabilities. Sometimes parents overlook some of those things. The child might be having difficulty seeing the board or whatever it is they use now, with the marker and everything. So just that could be the reason, and you would not have found out. And because he's a child, he doesn't even know that actually he's supposed to see better or she's supposed to see better, and this is hampering. And you know, this happened to a family friend, and they didn't even realize. And because he didn't know that there was an issue, he wasn't seeing properly, but he didn't think it was an issue. Then until somebody else, not even the school, somebody else now said, "Have you checked her eyes?" And that was it. She wasn't seeing. She wasn't seeing what the teacher would write on the board properly. She wasn't seeing her notes properly.
How old was she?
She was about 12.
Wow.
And they had not realized that such a problem existed. And then there's dyslexia as well, which is a very common problem that parents overlook for a long time.
So much.
And so these are some of the things. So before you begin to say, okay, the child is doing poorly, please check for eyesight, check for dyslexia. These are common problems that we tend to overlook in our schools. How do you check though?
Who do you go to meet? How do they assess the child?
You have to meet the teachers, talk, find out, go online, Google it, find out, talk to other parents, find out. Information is key. You have to look and then, okay, Google it. Then when you ask who is the nearest person or where is the nearest place that you could, you know, are there any schools, are there any associations that you could, you need to find. It's self-help for
and
now.
The thing about doing well in school, I think some children have time when they come into their own and they begin to do well. My son didn't start well.
Okay.
At primary 3, we're still struggling to be in the middle of the class. But I knew that somewhere, some inside him, he had the ability to do well, and I kept encouraging him. Today, he's doing extremely well. And you know what he asked me the other day? He said, "Mommy, how did you feel when I was doing so badly? How did you cope?" I said, "Michael, inside you, I knew there was a superstar."
Oh.
And so I was attending.
So sweet.
Really, I was attending to it because it was as if my son was so slow. He started so slow. Today,
the learning curve.
Today, for every child is different.
The learning curve for every child is different, and it takes courage from the parents and then also teachers to know that okay, you know what, some children learn at so pace and some children learn at so pace. So and you have to really give children room. You have to give them room. And you know what, eventually a child that's doing poorly just because they don't, you will know, like you noticed your daughter, you knew that at the end of the term something was going to give because of the amount of time she was spending with play and TV. So these are just the signs that you know what, this is going to affect your grade. It is a given. But there are some that you see they're struggling, they're really trying, yet it's not happening. Then you have to check for other things.
Okay. And I don't know, because I think nowadays, I'm not really sure we have teacher training institutions like we did way back.
They do have, actually.
Okay, well, because from are they up to par?
Yeah, well,
or are schools sending their teachers for training? I think that's
those are some of the questions.
Because while I worked at the BBC World Service Trust, we did have some training in how to train, which is practically, just how to teach, essentially. And that's where I came to realize that people have different learning styles. There are people who learn by doing. There are those who will learn by reading. Other people learn by, audiovisual content, and so on and so forth. So you're supposed to bring a mix of this to the teaching experience so that you meet practically every child's needs in the classroom. So it's not enough to come and teach theory of chemistry. You need to take children to the lab so that they see these different, and how many schools are that well equipped and so on and so forth. So yes, you have these gaps and all this. But I think that as parents, just as we said, I do not believe that children should get whipped for failing exams or they should be you know, talked down to, you'll never amount to anything in life. And no, I don't think that's right, because I think it worsens the situation. But I do think that if you have children who are reasonably intelligent, you can tell a child that's intelligent, and they're consistently coming in with bad grades, you need to sit down and find out what the problem is. Talk to them about it. Find out, is the environment at home, is it even conducive? Are there so many distractions in the house?
Yes.
Would the child be better served in a boarding system? If the child is already in a boarding system and they're coming home with these bad grades, is it possible that there's some kind of distraction there or some kind of distress that the person is going through? So find out, know what it is, and then look for mitigating measures. Do we need to bring in an extra teacher for this particular subject?
I was going to say that.
For some kids, something as overlooked as bullying, because a lot of people tend to overlook bullying. Something like bullying will make a kid not want to go to school, not even thrive.
So bottom line, parents this period really should be observing and speaking to their children.
Based on the grades that the children have come back with.
We shouldn't be worrying only about the financial stuff,
Christmas,
the physical things and everything. We need to prepare the children mentally, especially those ones that are going back into the boarding system. Most of them don't really like it. So you pep them up, you build them up, try to find out if the atmosphere in the school is there something that shouldn't be happening that is happening to you, things like this, so that you prepare the child to know that you can talk to me if something isn't working out. Don't be afraid to tell me somebody is bullying you. I will not go there and scream at the principal. Sometimes some children hold these things back because they're afraid of how you will react. And what the outcome will be for them ultimately. So they keep quiet. So you need to make them understand that I'll handle this thing in a mature way. I'll not go there and yell at your principal. I may not even tell the principal you said anything, but I'll just find my way to see how we can get to the bottom of this. So feel free to talk to me. Let me know what's going on with you. Don't keep things to yourself. Is it a classmate that's bullying you? Is it a teacher? Is there, if you're a girl, is there somebody who is trying to do things to you? Because that happens a lot, especially with teachers in the secondary school system. Those that are peers tend to be a bit more, you know, reticent about it, but the teacher is in a position of authority. And sometimes they do all kinds of crazy stuff to these girls, and the girls keep it quiet because if I tell daddy, he'll blow his top, he'll come there and probably kill this man, and then they keep quiet. And so it's important.
A lot of things that you have to sort out before the child goes back to school.
Before the child goes back to school. There are some parents that believe, well, boarding school worked for me, so it has to work.
Not necessarily.
It's not like that. And when the parent went to boarding school, things were not the way they are now. So things change, and for every 5 years of that boarding school circle, for every 5 years, things have changed. Things have moved on. It's a different ball game. So you have to, parents have to stay in the know. You're not coming to your child's boarding school with the same mindset of your own boarding school. There are a few things that are basic, like the boarding school will teach you to be a little more independent. But apart from that, everything else has changed.
And apart from that, we also need to bear in mind that what works for one child will not necessarily work for the other. Even if they're identical twins. One child might thrive better in the boarding house system, and the other person will do better at home. So don't insist that, oh, I have 4 children, they must all be in this particular boarding. It won't. So try to know who this particular child is, and then tailor your parenting to suit that child's needs. It's easier said than done.
I asked my mother, 6 children, some of us went to boarding, some of us didn't, and I asked her, what was the parameter? What did he use to send some of us out? And he said, look, you would know. You have to look at your child individually, look at them, the strengths and their weaknesses. And that's what she used. And one of my brothers who didn't even go to boarding school, he was the one that went out of the country to stay for 8 years, come back, and he came back well. People say that if you don't go to boarding school, you may not be able to mix or be independent. It's not really true.
No, it depends on how the home is.
What side of the divide were you on? Were you boarding school or?
I started boarding school. I ended in a day school. But that's the way it was.
Well, for me, I went to boarding school. For a while, I absolutely abhorred it. But you know what? I grew into it, and by the time I was rounding up boarding school, I actually loved it. It helped me in so many ways, but it's not for every child. And same thing as she's saying, some of us in the family went to boarding school and some didn't. And my mom had to make the judgment call, and she said, you know what, this person wants to thrive in a boarding school, and had to go to the day school.
Yeah. So these are all things. It's not easy. These things are easier said than done.
Yeah.
Especially where you have like maybe 4, 5, 6 kids, or 7, and so on. It's very hard because as an individual, as a parent, you also have your own demons.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, you have those days when you wake up and nothing is happening for you.
Yeah.
So trying to decipher what will work for Peter and okay, John. Okay, hello, Henrietta, what's going on? It can be really difficult. So, but it's something that parents need to, it's a challenge and it's something you must meet, knowing fully that no matter how much your children resent whatever disciplinary measure or whatever you're trying to put in place, they'll appreciate it 15 years later.
Oh, yeah.
I'm the one who is thirsty on this.
I'm watching my weight.
Okay. Let me go for it.
Hello. Yeah. No, I'm just being silly. So, so seriously, it's there's so many layers of things you need to be thinking about as you work toward, you know, resumption of school and so on and so forth. So many things.
And I think some school owners have kind of made it a bit easy. It's not like you have to pay immediately or the first week. They kind of give leeway.
Yeah, they give some leeway.
Because they kind of know, they understand that are unique.
Is that tough month?
That's
as you said.
So thank you, school owners and proprietresses. Thank you.
I don't know, there's this, a friend of mine in the office told me this and I thought it was a beautiful idea. If if you have the kind of resources to make it happen. She says that because her husband runs his own business and of course all the school and whatever, so what he does is his bank, you know, there's a certain bank, you go online, you pre-order certain payments or standing order. So he programs that thing for the entire year.
Wow.
So every month at such and such a date, he knows that a certain amount of money is leaving his account, whether he likes it or not.
My husband,
So it's on auto, you know, it's auto. There's nothing like, oh, I forgot and I used the money for this. And because he knows that that thing is automatic, he is hyper about making sure that that account is always well funded. And he has this thing he does where, you know, you don't pay school fees every month. So what happens is, from what she told me, if her husband pays this term's fees, he starts making installments toward the next term's fees. So that by the time next term comes around, he's probably paid like 80% on it off already, and he just puts in whatever little is left.
Installments that goes to the school.
Yeah,
oh,
you know, he just gives installments and when he gets that odd 50,000 he's not using, he puts it there. Odd 70,000 is not because they have 3 kids all in primary school, and primary schools are pretty expensive.
Yeah, they are.
So every time he gets a little money that he's not doing anything with, he just puts it there, and sometimes before the next term turns around, the entire fees is paid, and there's a little something for the last term. I was like,
fantastic. He seems to have it.
Yeah, you have to have.
Yeah, that's why I said if you have the resources, he has, and. Some people have the resources and
they don't plan.
They don't plan. Yeah, so he
and
has
I think we should try and save our children from the kind of situation where they're in school and they're either turning them away because we haven't planned properly.
Yeah,
it's
you know,
let's for the children.
It is. It
and
really
it's not a good way to start
No way.
Some let it stretch till the kids are about to sit for their exams, and they're walked out of school because they have not paid. I've seen that happen before. It wasn't a good sight. It wasn't a pretty sight at all. The child was not able to sit for the exams because the whole term had run, and it was even time for exams, and the parents had not paid off.
And again, this thing about keeping it real is the fact that you're in a school that is so expensive. There are other schools that are not that expensive.
And could be offering the same services.
I tell you the truth. Keep it real.
Keep it real.
Move to that. I keep saying keep it real because, see, I don't know how else to say it. I have friends who are struggling so much to keep a standard. They're in a school. If I tell you the school fee, you'll be wondering. And every time is a struggle. And I tell you, the other schools now,
you know what? This keeping it real is twice as hard because of the social media. You want to have that Facebook post that says so and so and so.
Yes,
Some people are so inclined to that thing. It's unbelievable. For me, I'm like, Why do you want to put this kind of pressure on yourself? You want this picture
crazy.
on social media just for this picture. You're giving yourself this backstory that is so difficult to handle.
Backstory,
Yeah, because I mean, you don't know the other person that's also on social media
That's
and looking
watching.
so pimped up.
Yes.
You don't know their backstory either. So why do you want to put that kind of pressure on yourself?
But I think if mature adults are doing stuff because of Facebook, that's pathetic.
But they
But they're doing
We're
it.
doing it.
Doing it.
Devan, we are doing
They
it.
are doing it
That's
every
we,
year.
Collectively,
That's
we are doing it.
crazy.
People go on
That's
holidays, they don't
crazy.
have business going on that holiday because they want to post it on Facebook. That
Seriously,
money should have gone for something else.
Yes.
I
important
have
like
friends
school
like
fees.
that.
Yeah.
And they are snapping from the airport to wherever. They come back and they
Checked
start
in at-
borrowing
yes.
to pay their children's school fees. And I'm like, are you real?
Well,
It's
I'm happy
happening.
they have people to borrow money from because if I won't give you my money if I know that's what you're all about.
Yeah,
I
that's
won't.
true,
No,
actually.
but seriously, people have to cut themselves some slack. It's a new world, but you don't have to go to that extreme to be part of this new world.
Yeah.
It's a platform that is out there, and if you want to be real on that platform, you can still be on that platform and be real. You don't have.
Don't
It's
owe
not
anybody.
a competition. You don't owe anybody any explanation. You know. So you just ease off on the pressure on yourself. You know.
Ease off on the
That's just
pressure.
it.
Yeah.
And then another tip, for instance, if both parents earn, you could decide that, okay, for school fees of this month, let's not touch your salary at all. Let's make do with whatever my own salary can handle. That could be a decision
Yeah, that
if
could
you're
be
both
another-
earning.
yeah.
Well, that's for marriages that the spouse is willing to do that. Some women will not.
Yeah, it's supposed to be
in
the way I
Africa.
see marriage.
here in
oh.
Africa, sister, here in Africa.
No, I'm just saying it's supposed to be like for me,
To-
marriage is supposed to be like a quid pro quo thing. That you come to agreements. I don't think you should be so stiff,
Rigid.
so rigid,
That
and so
should be.
uncompromising. I don't think it should be so. But I guess you're right when you said if why would you not? Are they not your kids?
Okay.
Why would you not want? You understand? I think
Yeah, topic for another day.
we're just looking at different options.
No, but I get it.
I totally agree with you, Evan. Yes, there's no two ways about it. If you're in a marriage, then you're in it together. If you have children, you're in it together.
Together, yeah.
And you know what? Life happens. There might even come a time one partner is down, either due to illness, either due to whatever.
Loss of job,
loss of
anything.
job loss,
Circumstance,
anything.
yeah.
And the other person that's up and doing would be the one to just step
have to
up.
pick up the
yeah,
ball.
and pick up the
When you
the
least
bills.
expect it, you
Yeah.
will find
Yes.
yourself, in the front seat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a
saddling.
partnership. From the get-go, it should be a partnership.
Yeah. Okay, we're pretty much out of time. Maybe we have any last tips. I know we have some time, so we can just give a summary of how to get back to school in January, because I know some people are scared. Some people have been taking notes all throughout. I need to save money. Let me not go and embarrass my child on resumption day.
Well,
We'll
just
start with you,
to
Diva.
wrap it up, just make sure that you don't spend everything at Christmas. That's all I'll say.
And I
Patience.
will insist, I've said it over and over again. I think I'm going to be sounding like a broken record, but still keep it real. Don't spend everything like you said, and visit that back to school shop now. They are lonely and they are waiting for you to come.
That's it.
In January, there will be a rush.
Edith.
Well, for me, I just want to say compliments of the season. It's a season that comes with a lot of pressure, but just keep your eye on the reason for the season. It's not about all of those screaming, shiny things that we're always looking out for. It's really for retrospection. It's really for bonding more with your inner self and just keeping it real, as she said.
Yeah. So make wise choices during this holiday period, and we wish you all the best from all of us in the conversation room. Our social media handles are available on the screen. We'd like to hear from you. How do you survive through the January period? My name is Nike, and I'll be signing off now. Thank you for joining us.